Hi. I got a couple minutes here and I want to make a comment on VenomFangX's most recent video responding to the Amazing Atheist's response to his 5 questions video. You may hear something in the background. My brother's here with me today and he's taking a shower, so I hope that doesn't come across, but if it does, I apologize. Now, with VenomFangX, he has committed the fallacy of moving the goalpost. In his earlier video, he specifically stated that no real infinities exist. Of course, I'm going to show later that he's wrong. They do. And then the Amazing Atheist came out and said, hey, you said this about no real infinities exist. Well, your God is supposed to be infinite, therefore you contradicted your own argument. Paraphrasing the whole argument there. So VenomFang comes out with this video saying that, oh no, what I meant was infinities made of parts, or a finite number, or a finite type of part, cannot exist. Now that may be true. Can you have an infinite number of sand grains? Don't know. Excuse me. But what about something that's a continuum? Time is a continuum. The distance between second 1 and second 2 contains an amount of time. We call that amount of time a second. However, we can divide that time, and we can divide it again and again and again and again. We can divide it infinitely. So the truth is, between second 1 and second 2, there's an infinite amount of time, and we move through it without difficulty. This is basically Zeno's paradox in regards to time. With the original Zeno's paradox, he referred to distance. You had point A and point B, the line between them. To travel from point A to point B, you had to pass a midway point. And from that midway point to point B, you had to pass a midway point, and so on, so that you should never be able to reach point B. This is the problem with using purely rational arguments, purely arguments from the mind. They don't necessarily conform with reality. Zeno's paradox is a paradox only from rationalism. From empiricism, it's not. Now, with VenomFangX's arguments in regards to time being finite, well, first of all, we don't know for certain that time is finite. Secondly, the fact that time is a continuum and we can divide it infinitely between any 2 points of time shows that we can exist in an infinite amount of time at a single point, which contradicts the whole, if there's an infinite amount of time before now, how do we get to now? Well, we exist in the now, period. The amount of time before, the amount of time that comes later, doesn't really matter. What matters is we exist in this time. Empirically, we can show it to be true. We can measure time. We throw an arbitrary measurement on time. Rationally, there's nothing we can do. Using rationalism, there's nothing we can do to deal with this conundrum. So, when VenomFangX comes out with these nice rationalism arguments in regards to his God, he has to literally ignore all empirical knowledge in regards to this. Now, empiricism is not perfect. It's not 100%, because we may not know what we experience to be true. We can't be certain of it. And rationalism itself cannot give us any answers, for any complete answers. The combination of the two, and consistency with what we observe and what we continue to experience, and the consistency between our rational deductions and the world, that is where we have a balance, and that's where we start understanding and actually seeing how things really are. VenomFangX fails this because he goes far too far on one side. So, I just want to put this out there. I don't really care to debunk his entire video because, well, it's too easy. VenomFang's arguments are horribly simplistic. But they are definitely humorous to watch, especially when he goes a little psycho and starts doing Joker impressions and stuff like that. It kind of gives you an insight to the mind of a person like him, where he really likes to live in his own self-made reality, while at the same time ignoring everything else that's outside that. which probably explains why he's such a strong believer in a god, especially the god that he's creating in his own mind, which is how everyone perceives God. They create their own god in their own mind. They may build on other things that they've been taught, but they create their own concept of God. So with VenomFang, it shows a lot. Plus, he's been caught in lies. He begged for a camera, but he lives in a mansion. He has at least one computer game, one gaming system, probably multiple. He has a fairly expensive looking laptop. This is a kid that didn't really need money for a camera, and he didn't need one donated, but he asked for it. He got it. He's a very dishonest individual with both his arguments and with the way he portrays himself. So I just wanted to throw out my ideas about time, make a few comments about VenomFangX, like anyone else hasn't. Oh, and I forgot to mention about time. Time is also not a linear thing. It's not simply the progression of one moment after another. It was once thought to be that, made a lot of sense, but Einstein's theory of relativity pretty much showed us that time is a very plastic thing. It's mutable, it can be changed, it can be warped, it can be twisted, and the actual physical structure of time, the geometry of time, is unknown to us in total. We can know it locally in our own solar system and things like that, but does time itself, does it loop back on itself? We don't know. Is it some kind of temporal Mobius strip where it doesn't really loop back on itself, but it's still infinite and it's still one-dimensional thing? We really don't know. These answers can only be dealt with by closer examination of time. And luckily for us, time does appear to be intimately entwined with space-time, with space, which in itself is intimately entwined with matter and energy. And we can observe matter and energy, and we can make inferences from those to understand space and time more accurately. The Large Hadron Collider, which hopefully I think starts up in either late March or early April, hopefully will give us some answers. But it will more than likely give us even more questions. But that's a good thing. So I'm going to sign off here. I'm almost at my 10-minute mark. And just remember, anyone that hears a creationist argument, think about it closely. You'll find that those arguments are not based on anything of substance. They're based on over-rationalizations, they're based on lies, on misrepresentations, on straw men, etc. And this is what's happened to VenomFangX here in regards to time. Now, the other parts of this video, other people are probably going to cover that. I'm not going to today. I would like to see him start talking about evolution again. Those are the ones I like, because you can crush him on evolution easily. And I think he's finally realized that, which is why he doesn't make videos in regards to evolution too often anymore. Okay, so I'm going to sign off now. You guys have a good day, and take care of one another.